Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Antiques.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Well, it kind of looks a little bit.
Yeah.
Sun's out there somewhere, but we're going to talk about some antiques today. And what's on the agenda there, I guess I should say?
Entertainment would be our overall subject for today, I think.
Yeah, coin-operated
or-
machines.
Coin-operated entertainment.
Coin-operated machines.
Yeah.
You remember the ones you used to put money in?
It used to be a quarter.
Well, no, I used to be a penny.
Oh, way back,
Money in
yeah.
them and
Used to
they-
be a nickel hour.
it's,
You know, when I went to Disney, at the beginning of the month here, and on Main Street, USA, where you're walking in,
Maybe that's where I saw that.
there was all these, like, my kids, we went into the first shop and they're all open. It's like a big connected thing, and it's all just t-shirts and souvenirs and stuff. And on the way out, I'm like, well, on the opposite side of the street, they used to have a where you drop a penny in and it would flip the cards, and it was like, you know,
Yeah, the old movie.
movies kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
And I was like, you know, my kids have never seen that. And I was like, come on, we got to go check that out. And went over to the other side of the street, and it was completely open all the way from one end to the other two, and just souvenirs.
Oh.
And I was like, somewhere in the last 30 years, they've changed how they do that.
Yeah, now that you mention that, somewhere we were down in Florida many years ago, and we went in. It was like a museum of nothing but old coin-operated machines.
Really?
And if they were a penny, that's what you put in
Right, yeah.
and they had the ones that you turn the crank and the
Oh, yeah.
little cards flip, and they like a movie.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting
And
to show
then
the
they
kids. Yeah,
had
exactly.
the different old pinball machine, and they had the music boxes, big old
Okay.
music boxes.
Jukeboxes?
No, kind
Oh,
of,
yeah, I know what you're talking
but
about.
big ones, great big old brass records in them.
They play a big
And
record.
they had and it had like drums and everything. It was out of this world.
Wow,
and
cool.
but-
Germany made a lot of those.
yeah, but apparently you used to be able to go into like a restaurant or something, and or a place of business, and or an arcade. Later, I guess they called them, and I don't know what they call them now.
Gina made a lot of those.
Yeah.
Made a lot of those boxes. And actually at the fair, remember they used to have that music box. It had drums and
Yeah.
cymbals and all that.
Oh, yeah,
And they had to fly a guy though from Germany when that thing would get out of sync
Uh-huh.
just to work on that.
Just to work
and
on
they
it.
finally just stopped playing it.
Used
but
as
it
a
played-
decoration at that point.
Yeah.
yeah, that was a high dollar repair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But remember when you was a little kid, you remember it playing?
I don't remember them.
It was here at the
Germany.
Coffee County Fairgrounds.
Oh really?
Yeah.
But anyway, the pinball machines and Pac-Man, I guess, came in later. That's video, but the pinball machines were great. And
I remember somebody with a hurdy-gurdy, he had a piano tuner to tune.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He's talking about me. I had one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You remember the song Hurdy Gurdy Man?
Oh, yeah. I've seen a hurdy.
Well, I had actually the one that was on a cart that you pushed around.
did you have a monkey with it?
Well,
You had a little monkey with a cup, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
And it'd go around, and people would put coins in
Yeah.
it.
No, it was the neatest thing.
And
yeah.
some
It
of 'em,
sounded beautiful
you,
once
you
it
crank
was.
them.
Yeah.
Once it was tuned, it sounded beautiful.
Yeah.
Now they had this kind that you actually put over your, hooked onto your neck, and
Yeah,
just a
I've
small.
seen-
But this
Oh,
one you actually
grinder.
pushed on a wooden cart.
It was heavy, big old heavy
It was a
one.
nice piece.
Wow. I've never seen the big one before. I've seen the small one.
Well, listen, you got an important thing you need.
Okay,
to
Yeah,
do.
well,
yeah.
like I say, we
Get
wanted to
to it.
acknowledge Light Tube again for bringing us on the air. And
Oh, that's right.
I've already had some people point out that they've seen me on TV because they had Light Tube instead of any of the other ways.
Did they say they were going to continue watching, or were they
yeah.
threatening to quit?
They weren't cussing while they told me about it,
Oh,
but yeah. And also, like I say, you can also catch all of our old episodes on Facebook, and dig around on that, and on P-Head's YouTube channel. It goes
Yeah.
all the way back to the beginning. It's a little more organized like that.
Okay, though, Light Tube. We want to thank Brian and Light Tube family though for
Yeah.
actually putting us on, and we hope that the people that have Light Tube enjoy the show, and we stay on there, right?
Absolutely.
And you said it was at 1:30 every day,
I
right?
think, yeah, it's 1:30 every day. Yeah, which is a pretty good slot. I tell you.
every day.
Well, we know they're watching because they're YouTube.
Does
kids.
Howard need to come over here and sit with us sometime?
No. I think the mystery of the back of his head.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's kind of like what was that? The tool guy. Remember his neighbor always talked.
Wilson.
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
So you're kind of like the tool guy.
Yeah, thank you. I feel
You're
better now. I feel slighted, you know. I mean, the only thing you see is my bald spot.
Well, you wait till we get that billboard up. They'll see more than the ball spot.
Like I say, David put you on the billboard with us.
Yeah,
us
but
all
I'm
holding you.
but you got me standing backwards.
Maybe this billboard we might have it up this weekend, Ronnie. You think?
Yep,
Think
it
we
don't
will?
rain.
Yeah, if it don't rain.
Well, I guess it'll be a year or two before.
Well, it's supposed to be like 10% tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, but by this
We don't
weekend.
care if it snows as long as it don't rain.
okay.
Hey, and my wife has to put notes because she knows that I forget to do a lot of things. But she told me to be sure to tell people that they can go to my Facebook also.
Yeah.
And they can, anything that we do, they can see our shows. They can see, just go to David Pennington. And we'd like for you to like our, if you see something on there, we'd like you to like it. And if we have videos, we'd like for you to watch them.
Yeah, and share them.
Yeah,
So,
and share
yeah,
them.
So
definitely.
everybody
Share
knows
'em.
about the program.
Now, we just did a video on that late 1800s, 1892 and up, train seat. It's got over 1,400 views.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
yeah.
I watched a movie the other day where one of they asked the lady, she lived in, it was based in New York City in the 60s, and asked her something about, don't you ride the train or something? She was like, no, the cane seats tear up my pantyhose. And I wouldn't have had any idea what she was talking about if we hadn't have done the episode on those on those
But
seats.
you know now,
Yeah, and I tell you something too. When you go to my page, we have probably 5,000 friends already. But what we do on a lot of those videos, we teach you. You know, they're educational,
Right.
And you can see the stuff that I swap and trade for. And let me just tell you, you talking about like gas pumps is a good example,
Right.
You know, I started tracking those things, and every 10 years they've doubled in value.
Yeah. Well, you got some beautiful ones there,
Yeah.
too. They're really pretty.
Yeah. And I tell you something, though. Signs. Who would have ever thought? But I tell people, I am a collector, but I'm an investment collector.
Right.
I collect for the investment of it, too.
Right.
And that's what I'd like for the people that's listening to us and watching our show. Learn that you can diversify and have a few things like this, a few pieces. You know, matter of fact, they even talk about it on talk shows when they're talking about having some gold, some silver, some
people
stuff.
add to their
But
portfolios.
antique signs and Coke machines and gas pumps and that kind of stuff, and gas signs, soda signs, those are a good investment.
Right. And they're down at a range where the average person can
Right.
get involved. I watch the car auction on TV.
Yeah.
On
Barrett Jackson.
Yeah, Barrett Jackson, and maybe one or two of those other ones that show up once in a while. And there's cars on there for $200,000 and $300,000 or $400,000. They're investments. They're not going to go out and drive those cars.
No. Or
Daily driver.
But I
No.
can't afford that.
or
But
2
I
or 3
can-
million, Howard.
Oh yeah, that's for true. But I could probably afford a $100 sign.
Yeah.
Original sign,
Yeah.
and have it mounted in my man cave or something.
Look.
And in 4 or 5 years, it's worth 150 or 200. Say.
And here's the deal, though, Howard. And you was talking about man cave, but in general, a lot of people like to have a garage or a room.
Or a room.
I was looking the other day, and it showed a bunch of people's garages and rooms, and they had Coke machines, gas pumps,
Yeah.
signs, air meters, just
Yeah.
And not only can you look at that stuff, it's growing in value
Right.
every day. It's
Yeah.
not going down.
And usually, the person that does something like that, there's some other form of attachment. Like if it's something to do, say, with Ford, they like Ford cars,
Or
they had a Ford.
or-
Their first car was a Ford.
Or your family.
We're into AMC,
There you are.
American Motors.
And,
And-
matter of fact, you know where a sign is, right? AMC
Oh,
sign.
yeah.
See?
Are you eyeing the sign, waiting? Waiting
Well,
to
he's knew where it's been for a long time.
snag it.
But you know, it's matter of fact, an AMC prototype sold the other day on Barrett Jackson for like $800,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
A prototype.
And that's the highest AMC car has ever sold on one of the auctions.
I believe you.
Yeah, they're coming up. I used to be able to buy them for a couple $1,000 or $2,000. Now they're like 10 and 12. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
getting out of my range.
like Volkswagens and Volkswagen vans from you can
Oh,
buy
yeah.
for a couple $100.
What is it? The 23 window VW? Is it
yeah.
23 window or something like that?
It's
Yeah,
a multi-window.
It's got bunches of
23,
windows. And those suckers go for hundreds of thousands sometimes.
20 years
amazing?
ago, you could get a Volkswagen van for a couple $100.
Yeah.
A Beetle for
Yeah.
$400. You
And,
know.
and drive it to
No, you
Bonnaroo.
cannot.
Now
Yeah,
you
they-
can't afford it.
Now,
you cannot.
and also, the hot little Volkswagen is that split window.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the old split window Volkswagens?
All right.
Now, they go crazy over that stuff.
I know.
But, I mean, here's what I found about Barrett Jackson, because my poor little wife, bless her heart, she's got more patience. She sat there and let me watch that stuff, and she'd sit there and watch it. But if you want to buy a good driving car at Barrett Jackson, buy it when they first start to sale, like on a Wednesday or Thursday.
That's when they're
Do
cheap.
not try to buy a car on Friday and Saturday.
Well, that's when they run the big ones out. The ones
and it just gets momentum, though.
and I'm
Yeah.
not too sure, but can't you? They have the cars lined up in a parking lot outside.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can buy them out
under
there.
tents too.
Yeah, under tents. They got them lined up.
But
so
you want to buy when they first start selling,
Right.
and I'll tell you another good time to buy those cars on a Sunday when they get ready to shut down.
Oh, towards the end. 'Cause
Yep.
They're the leftovers.
Well, the high dollar buyers has bought what they wanted.
yeah, they're already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's wonderful, but my chances of being there at Barrett, I can't afford a ticket to Barrett.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll
You
do.
could.
I'll buy all the gas, and then you'll just drive down this spring to Barrett Jackson, and you can bring back one of them AMC.
Oh yeah,
We'll go the first. We'll go when they first sell.
first open.
You buy
you
the
want-
gas, you buy the car.
Yeah. How about that? Of course,
That's
you'll have
real.
to.
I'm not too sure, but that
thought this
doesn't
out.
sound right to me.
Well, but I would love that if more people would come to my homepage and go to.
News Leader on 6 or P Head Productions Facebook page
Yeah.
is the main ones.
And look at, because we got a lot of interesting stuff. And you can see, I trade a lot all the time. Every
Yeah.
week I trade for something. And you can see that.
Yeah, I see that on
I have
Facebook.
people coming, like a guy come from Alabama the other day, and we did some trading on signs.
Well, another thing, a lot of people, and maybe might be the younger family members in a family, they look at the stuff that Grandma and Grandpa have or had, and they see junk. Mm-hmm. And some of that stuff's worth a little bit.
But here's the thing,
And so
though.
by watching a program like this, maybe they would get the feeling that, hey, that stuff is worth more, and not just throw it away,
Yeah.
which is really sad, or give it away, or
Yeah.
for next to nothing.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a good example. A guy had some bicycles, and he had them ever since his little kid. He's 50-something years old. So his mama has sold her house. This is in Murfreesboro. So he called me, and at first I said, well, bicycles are really not that hot. But he sent me one. You remember when they had the little chopper bicycles? Swin had them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's a high dollar bicycle. Well, he had 3 bicycles that's just mediocre bicycles. No big deal. But he had that nice Swin that he had when he was a kid. That was from $1,000 to a $2,500 bicycle.
Yeah.
And he said, well, one time somebody offered me $400 or $500. And he said, I guess they're down now. But after I looked at them for him, I said, no, by no means is that. But that's the only bicycle. I told him that's where the money is, right there. Hang on to that bicycle, and he's going to put it on eBay now. Now, had he not talked to me, he would have probably sold all 4 of them bicycles to somebody for $200 or $300.
Or maybe $50
Yeah.
or $100.
Yeah.
Figured, well, at least
Yeah.
somebody will get to use them.
But he had a nice, and when I was a kid, that's growing up in the 60s, when they had to started chopper motorcycles, okay?
Yeah.
That's what really started the chopper bicycle, with the banana seat and the big handlebars.
Yeah.
And have we talked ourselves into Panda Bill yet?
Pretty close.
Okay.
Well, you want to do it now or before we get started?
Well,
I mean, we're not locked into exact.
Well, why don't we do it now? And then Philip's going to come back, and he's going to read a little history about pinball machines, and there is a difference in pinballs. There's a difference between a pinball machine and a flipper machine. With that, let's take a break.
Okay, we'll be right back with more Let's Talk Antiques.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy pick.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, guys, we're back with, and now Philip's going to talk to about the history of pinball machines.
Yeah, a little history about them.
Okay.
You know, when they first started, they weren't electrified,
Right, everything was mechanical.
And they really got hot, as far as the making side of them. The 30s is when they really started going up, but around 58 was the peak. And of course, they stayed in good shape until the 70s or so. But 58 on up to the 70s, they made some good-looking pinball machines.
Yep.
You get around that.
I tell you something I do. I've got a bunch of back glasses, and I've framed them, and you can light them up.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
There is some serious artwork in those.
There
back
was.
glasses.
There was. They were. Well, even the box itself. Of course, it gets worn and scuffed up. The way they decorated them and painted them all up was beautiful.
Well, and those pinballs weigh about 250 pounds.
Yeah, they're heavy.
They actually have a pinball cart that rolls under there and jacks them up where you can roll them around.
Right. That's how the guy changed out the machine.
Yeah, if they did not have that thing.
Yeah.
Of course, you could. You know. Ronnie's got big muscles. He can move.
Yeah.
I've moved my share of
Yeah, you have.
But
You used to work for a company.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and he actually worked on when the video games got hot. That's what he did. He serviced them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so give him a little history here, and just
Yeah, so many experts say that the origins of pinball machines began with lawn games in Europe, where balls were rolled into holes in the ground. Taking the game indoors, parlor versions of this game were made and called bagatelle games. To play these tabletop games, a stick or plunger would propel the ball bearings up an incline. As the balls dropped down the incline, they would bounce off pins and land in pockets labeled with different scoring values. It is these pins that gave pinball its name. Another step towards the modern pinball game occurred at the end of the 19th century when inventor Montague Redgrave patented a device called the ball shooter, which was based on the recently invented steel spring. These games were first popular in bars and cafes in France and the United States, but they were not coin-operated. Players first exchanged money for balls to play with. Then, if players obtained a high enough score, they would be awarded free drinks, meals, or even cigarettes. There you go. That's what you do.
Invented steel.
Times have changed.
Recently invented steel spring, yeah. By the start of the 19th century, the first coin-operated bagatelle and bingo pin tables appeared, but the first coin-operated pinball machine was invented in 1931 by Automatic Industries and was called Wiffle Board. Terry Lawson, a longtime pinball authority and former member of the DFW Pinball and Arcade Club near Dallas, Texas, but the first commercially successful pinball machine is credited to Gottlieb's Baffle Ball. This is still in debate as of today, they said. The gaming industry itself really began in the mid-1930s with the production of a game called Ballyhoo. It was invented by Raymond Maloney, who later started the Bally manufacturing company of Chicago. Maloney's game had wooden legs and wooden rails on the sides, not like today's modern marvels of chrome and steel. Lawson is an owner of 45 pinball games, including 6 wiffle boards. Mark Feldman and Wade Wright, co-owners of Gizmo's Arcades in Omaha, Nebraska, own more than 400 machines, specializing in pre-1970 flippers. In 1933, electricity was first introduced to pinball by adding a battery to the machine, and in 1934, the first automatic scoring mechanisms would appear in the form of a clock counter, as well as the first sounds in a pinball machine by way of electromechanical chimes, bells, and buzzers, Lawson said. Added at the time were bumpers. The popularity of the pinball machine rose quickly during the mid to late 30s, in part due to the Depression and the need for low-cost entertainment. Since many pinball operations gave away prizes based on high scores, some players tried to cheat by shaking or lifting the game.
Imagine that.
Well, they solved that problem, though.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
tilt.
So in
Yeah.
He's fixing to tell
1935,
you right now.
1935, the tilt mechanism was
There you
invented
go.
by Harry
Yeah.
Williams, founder of the famous Williams Manufacturing Company. Tilt devices also often gave the player a first warning with a light and then shut down play on the second tilt. The pinball game was evolving rapidly, and by 1935, the first backglass game appeared with lighted scoring. Other features were then added, some with electrical transformers, so they could be plugged into standard 110-volt electrical outlets. In 1937, the first coil bumpers were introduced on bally tables. In 1939, disc bumpers were introduced to the game. By the late 1930s, there were 145 companies making pinball machines
Really?
in the United States, with the
Yeah, well,
majority
listen to this part, though.
with the majority of those based in Illinois. Larson said the competition was fierce, so fierce that by 1940 there was less than 14 companies remaining. Wow. Some of those probably put out really bad pinball machines, so you know.
Well, and there was probably small operators that didn't have them. It's all about capital.
Capital, yeah.
And in
took over.
And in the early 40s, there was a feeling that the pinball game was on thin ice. And that's because in 1942, pinball was banned in New York City and other large cities due to pinball's reputation with gambling.
Yeah, I was going to say it became a gambling machine.
Yeah.
Betting on the outcome of pinball games and bingo pinball machines was becoming too common. Pinball remained illegal in New York until 1976, when the ban was lifted after pinball was proven to be a game of skill in court.
Speaking of that, the pinball people here in Tennessee in the 50s and 60s, they worked with the state, you know, the senators and the
Yeah.
state reps, and they got pinballs exempt until it's from like 1975 or something that the law finally went out. So you could actually gamble on a pinball, you know, and pay off on them,
Right.
and it wasn't against the law up
Really?
until about
That's
yeah.
My
I mean,
dad
that just
talked
shows you
about-
the money
Right,
that
right.
was in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Even the gumball machines were considered gambling devices
Right.
in some places. Yeah.
okay.
I was reading that earlier.
Well, you can gamble on anything. I can
Yeah.
bet you right now that a blackbird is going to land here. I'd probably win.
There've been a lot of them lately.
Yeah, a zillion. And by the way, I asked this lady. She said a zillion. There wasn't no actual zeros that could
Yeah.
tell you how much a zillion was.
You know, well, you mentioned something about the pinball machine, you know, the pins.
Yeah.
Right.
You remember those games that they used to sell for kids that were about yay
Yep.
big? And they had
I had those,
a
yeah.
paint, and they had old pins, and you pulled the lever back.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you set it on a table, I guess, at a
Right.
slight angle you were supposed to.
Yeah.
And it was like a pinball machine, but there was nothing electronic. It was, you know, and you
Yeah.
scored or
Mine were
you try to
plastic.
get the
Yours
ball.
might have been wood.
Well, mine was. Yeah, it was. It was wood. I remember
Yeah,
it made out of
but
wood.
Howard, they actually made some of those plastic ones, like he's talking about, that actually had a backboard that
Well, yeah,
that
later.
was battery operated,
Uh-huh.
that would actually light up. and
Right, as later in life.
That was way before, way after me and you, though.
Well,
right?
yeah. Electricity hadn't been invented yet when I did it.
Well, that's probably why the early pinballs were battery operated.
Right.
Because a lot of those rural areas didn't have
They
electricity.
didn't
That's
have
the point,
electricity.
yeah.
Hey, TVA didn't hit Tennessee till 1934.
Yeah.
So there you are.
The
So keep going.
Sorry,
Keep
the
going.
10-year period of 1948 to 1958 is referred to by some as the golden age of pinball, due to the invention of the flippers in 1947 by the D. Gottlieb Company. Gottlieb's company called Humpty Dumpty, or his game called Humpty Dumpty, was the very first pinball machine to utilize 6 flippers. In 1948, a firm called Genco placed one set of flippers at the very bottom of the playfield in a game called Triple Action. But these flippers faced outwards, not inwards like today's models. By the 1970s, solid-state pinball machines were introduced, and that led to electronic scoring, alphanumeric scoring, electronic sounds, and finally electronic speech. This lasted well into the late 80s. With the advent of modern computers, circuit board technologies found its way into pinball machines, Larson said, replacing the old-fashioned relays. Pinball's machines gained the rights to popular names to the games, names such as the Jetsons, Star Wars, Twilight Zone, and others, in 1992. Williams Manufacturing Company released the Addams family, selling more than 20,000 tables. This table is considered to be the best-selling pinball machine of all time. Other highly sought-after games of this area are Funhouse and Medieval Madness, just to name a few. In 1993, pinball machines began using ceramic balls rather than non-magnetic balls. I did not know that. Throughout much of the 20th century, the names Bally, Gottlieb, and Williams have been pinball deities to pinball wizards worldwide. As the 90s progressed, the video game market was doing very well, and many arcade operators began to favor video games over pinball machines. They took up less space, required less maintenance to operate, and had more variety and depth to their games. As the new millennium approached, William Pinball Designers launched one final effort to innovate pinball. The company came up with Revenge from Mars in 1999. Unfortunately, it was one of the last pinball machines they produced. Shortly after this release, the company shut down its pinball division permanently. By 2013, the first New Age pinball machine hit the market, one with LCD monitor and full multicolored LED lighting throughout the entire playfield. And in 2016, Jersey Jack of Lakewood, New Jersey, released a pinball machine entitled The Hobbit. As for the state of used or pre-owned machines, supplies are very tight and getting tighter, Lawson said. The average selling price of good quality or pre-owned pinball machine is now appreciating at a rate of 10% to 25% or more per year, as more and more individuals discover the pleasure of pinball ownership and supplies are drying up. Yeah, well, and I say I've been looking for a couple of pinball machines for several years on eBay and other places.
Well, here's a company I pulled up on Google. It's got them there, and they are like $5,000-$6,000.
Yeah, they're reconditioned
but
too,
they're
though.
reconditioned.
Well,
and they mentioned some of the names you got there: Ghostbusters and Guardians of the Galaxy. Star Wars and back others. So.
And I'm not really able to repair a pinball machine, so if I was to get one, it would have to be.
Before we go to a commercial here, I got a little story I want to tell you about pinball machines.
Okay.
All right.
In my life, owned a campground, a KOA campground in East Tennessee, in Sweetwater. And when we took over, the KOA has some requirements about what you're supposed to have, laundry room and a store and all this stuff. And they said you should have a place for the kids to play games, like video games and small arcade. So we didn't have any. The previous owner had stopped having them. So I contacted a local company that had pinball machines and video games, and he came out and we talked about how many people we had and the fact that we just had kids in the summer and the winter months we were snowbirds and they didn't spend money on things like that. So he said, well, I tell you what I'll do. He says, since I'll give you a pinball machine and an old Pac-Man machine. And this was in the 90s when we took over. So I thought, okay, so he brought them out, put them in. And people played, they walk in and say, a pinball machine? I haven't seen a pinball machine in years. Or the kids went crazy over Pac-Man because the Pac-Man machine was dated by then.
Was it a seated or upright game?
Upright. It was an upright. And then they had the pinball machine was a regular, and I forget what ones we had. And we were shocked at how much play we had because the older people, even in the wintertime, older people would come in, you know, even though they normally they would see a pinball machine and they hadn't seen one, and they would end up. And we made a fair amount of money off those old machines, and they were the old ones that he didn't want to put the $30,000 or $40,000 new unit in there because it wouldn't have generated. It was in the arcade in the mall somewhere at that time. See, but that was kind of interesting. But,
That's real interesting.
But people
Howard,
like them.
That helped supplement the property owner's income.
Oh yeah,
like we originally.
Well, they shared. I think we got 50%.
In '65, that's exactly right. In '65, when we bought Jiffy Burger, there was 3 pinball machines there, a jukebox, and we kept those jukeboxes and pinball machines till the '70s, and then remember in the '80s, that's when the video games started easing in, and we had the very first video game in Manchester, Tennessee. It was Pac-Man. The very first. And I'll tell you why. I used to go to Daytona all the time, so down in Florida, they'd already had those games in the hotels and motels. And so when I came back, I called a friend of mine that was in the business, and he brought me it stayed packed.
Yeah.
Packed.
Yeah.
It do 700-800 a week.
Yeah, well, we didn't do quite that good.
But a quarter at a time, though.
They were quarter machines.
People would stand in line. Of course, they'd never seen one. And then after Pac-Man, it was Miss Pac-Man. Well, with that, let's go pay the light bill.
Yeah, we got to pay. I noticed the lights are dimming here, so we'll be right back with more Let's Talk Antiques.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy pick.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
What's next here?
Well, my granddaughter come to me and she said, Papa, there's a place down in Murfreesboro said for $12 you can play all those old video games as long as you want to. You can go eat and come back. And so I was telling Philip about it, and Philip,
I went there on my birthday this year.
there you are.
All right.
What's the name of it?
It's called Flashback Arcade. It's next to the Old Time Pottery over there.
And was it $12? I think that's what you
it's
told me.
$12. Which is, that's not super cheap. But if you're in a game room for a couple hours, $12. Especially nowadays.
But they give you an armband, so you don't have to stay. You can go do something else and come back. It's for all day long.
Yeah, and I've got the guy's card because I've got my my Donkey Kong machine that doesn't work, and so I'm supposed to hook up with that guy to.
So you have an upright or seated?
I've got the cocktail one. The seated.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. So there you go.
Why don't you make it work?
I've opened it up. I've looked at it.
It's amazing the wiring and stuff that's in there.
It's got a lot of wires, a lot of relays, a lot of really big chips.
Yeah.
Well, talking about wiring, the old pinball. Yeah. It had miles of wire. I was going to say 5 miles. I don't know it to be true now, but I did know at the time because we had pinball.
Yeah.
But it was miles.
They were amazing. And the old ones, not only were they electronic, but there was a lot of mechanical things in there.
You had relays and points. And those points that had to file the points.
Yeah.
They don't have that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The machine wouldn't be working. Guy come in, he'd clean up and he'd spray that contact cleaner in there.
Or file the point.
Kremlin is what it was. That's what I remember. They do.
Well, anyway,
in the studios.
So you've done a little research. Ronnie and I have sat here and watched you, and you found some games, and Howard's found some games. So let's talk about some pinballs.
I got some.
What's the highest price one sold?
Well, as far as used one goes, we've got about $5,500 for a Star Wars 1992. $500 shipping is also on these things.
Yeah. Now, Ronnie, when you was actually doing that work up in Warren County, Did y'all have a Star Wars? Had they come out yet?
Not that I recall.
Okay.
Yeah. Now on this webpage, there's a Star Wars Pro pinball machine by STEM. STEM.
I don't have a brand name on this.
It's
We didn't have any.
$5,799, and I'll bet there's shipping on top of that. I didn't look to see.
Oh,
what,
absolutely. You know
because
there
they're
is.
heavy.
So it's 5,800. So
Yeah.
that's kind of in line with what he.
Yeah.
So what's the next one you got?
Now we've dropped to some old ones. Here's a original vintage 1965 Buckaroo Gottlieb pinball machine in good condition. The buy it now on that was $2,300, local pickup only.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, they weigh about 250. The
Yeah,
old
they're
ones.
heavy, and you'd really have to package it heavy and protect it.
Well, you take the back off of it. You know,
Right,
it actually
and
unbolts
the legs on bolts.
Yeah, you'd
but
have to-
still, you'd have to make
Yeah.
sure that it was.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you couldn't
protected.
ship it with a back on it though,
Just
because
with
it carries.
glasses bring on.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely
They would.
crate them up, yeah. Here's a 75 Gottlieb classic spin-out pinball machine. That buy now on that was $1,600. And here's a antique vintage Rockola 1933 Chicago World's Fair
Wow.
jigsaw pinball machine. 37 bids on that one for $1,700. That's pretty cool.
Now Rockola made a lot of jukeboxes.
Yeah, they used to be big in jukebox.
Wurlitzer, Rockola, AMI.
I didn't know they made pinball machines.
Well, and maybe in 35, you know.
You know,
Now,
you know, Bally not just made pinballs; they also made slot machines.
Oh, I didn't know that. There's a vintage 79 Williams pinball machine called Gorgar, and I remember playing this one. It was the first talking pinball machine. It was like the Gorgar monster guy would taunt you.
Yeah.
you
played
remember what he
it.
said?
I
You played that because you needed a friend, right?
Yeah.
You need somebody to talk to you.
Exactly.
You remember what he said to you?
I have no idea what he said to me. So it went somewhere between $1,700 and $1,200. Here's a Bally Campus Queen pinball machine, classic. They wanted $1,800, and they got somewhere close to $1,200. A vintage 1970 El Dorado pinball machine, $1,200. I was trying to find some that were I remembered more. Here's a 1934 Rockola World Series pinball machine, arcade game,
So it's
coin
a
op.
baseball game.
So it's a baseball game. Let me look at this because this is 1934.
Wow.
It's like a flat table with glass on the top.
Now you're looking at the floor there.
Yeah, I was jumping around on me.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, there
It's got
it
the
is.
diamond.
Let's see, yeah. So you flip the ball up. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You flip the ball up and it'll either go in the first, second, third home run. You've also gotten the outfield is just pins to guide it down through things. So that's
Really pretty.
it's very
It's
pretty,
like a
very nice.
mahogany board or something.
Wow. So the winning bid was $550. That seems like a steal to me at this point.
Yeah.
You won't play baseball.
Yeah, there you go. Here's a two vintage golf pinball arcade machines, Williams Mini Golf. So this was like the mechanical numbers to go by much electronics. Went for $901. Here's vintage title fight pinball machine from 1990. 1990 just doesn't seem vintage to me, but I guess 17 bids, $880. As I get older, it's that vintage number creeps up. It's the thing.
You're beginning to notice, huh?
Yeah.
38 years, almost 39.
Vintage Silver Ball Mania pinball machine. Okay, I recognize that one. Yeah, $775. That's not bad. All these have free local pickup if they have a decent price.
Hey, you want to hear a good one?
What you got?
Here's a Kiss pinball.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
Guess what,
that's-
though? It's signed by all the band members.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Guess what it brought? Because you're a professional now on these pinballs. Don't look over here.
Yeah, I already looked over there. Sorry.
I told you not to. What was that after? How much did it bring?
10 grand?
11.
Oh, okay. There you
Here's another one for $9,000. It's not signed. Here's another one for $4,500. It's not signed.
Oh, okay. So I guess an autograph helps. Well, here, let me top that and go with the. This is the highest priced new pinball machine. It's called Supreme Stern, and it went for $70,000 just to buy it now. Supreme X Stern pinball machine, unopened in box and ready to ship, $50,000. Stern pinball machine. It's a Beatles pinball machine. This is a brand new one. One of 100 made. $25,000 with free shipping. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, on my webpage, they got the Beatles Gold Edition pinball machine by Stern.
Yeah.
$7,999.
This is the diamond edition.
Oh,
see.
this is the gold edition.
Oh, wow.
Well, listen to
Big
this.
difference.
Elton John don't bring much money. Captain Fantastic Elton John pinball.
Oh, I used to play that all the time. I've looked at that.
Well, it brought probably $300. I don't know.
Really?
Maybe it ain't working.
No, I'd say it's not working because I've looked for that machine before.
Well, you can get one.
Does it say for parts?
There's a place in Chattanooga that sells a lot of pinball machines, and they all work, and they have somebody who maintains them, and they're a seller.
Yeah, well, but I don't know. I guess it's probably still true, but the companies that put the machines into places of business, they would retire the machine, and then you could go buy one.
Yeah.
I guess they probably still
Well, they
do
dealt
that.
in a lot of machines, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they would go through. Of course, they worked, but you didn't know for how long.
Hey,
Yeah, well.
here's the active listing on Captain Fantastic.
What's an active
$5
listing?
grand.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, that must be
But here's
be in better shape.
Yeah. Here's another one though that it's 1976.
Okay. Well, speaking of money, I noticed the lights are dimming.
Okay. We don't want them lights.
No. I got to put another quarter in the transmitter.
All
So
right. Keep it going.
we'll be right back.
All right, we'll move on.
After a couple words here from some of our
Yeah, I thought
sponsors.
we just paid them.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Pickin' Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy pick.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We're back.
Hey, while we was on
Yes,
break,
sir.
I found him one that he could have bought, a Kiss pinball. They brought 6,000, and that's you had to pick it up there. And then another one brought around 3, and then 2,500. But you found a unique one.
I found the 1978 Playboy pinball machine where it had Hef with a couple of girls on each arm. That went for $3,200.
You know what Howard's famous saying is, don't you?
What?
I only read the article.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, that's what everybody used to say back in the day.
I only read the article.
And the really cool Kiss game that I played when I was a kid was 78 and 79, and here's a 1979 one that went for $4,000. And that was a fun game. I used to play that one at the skating rink in Cleveland. So here's jumping subjects here on Penny Arcade.
Yeah, well, we need to probably get to it.
Yeah, I say we're just about out of show.
Yeah.
Here's a Whiting coin-operated sculptoscope Penny Arcade machine, and this is the one where you would crank the handle.
Yeah.
And the cards would flip by to play the movie.
Right.
And $600.
What about the shock machine?
I don't know. Let me look and see what the shock machine is. I don't.
I was wondering
This
about
sold for $4,500.
that
So What is a shock machine?
Hey, I found a Wizard pinball.
It's a headache, no shock, no danger, a great tonic cures.
Is that what you held onto the
Electric
handle?
treatment.
Yep, only for a penny, Howard.
Try it,
Yeah.
only 1 cent. Drop coin in
Shock
slot.
yourself for a penny.
You
Grasp-
held onto the handles or something, or a handle.
Grab both
metal.
handles firmly. Turn right hand handle from you slowly, and pointer on dial will indicate amount of current you receive.
Yeah.
Do not turn handle until coin is in slot. All right, that's the description. So if you're into that kind of thing,
Yeah,
it's
I'm out.
Hey, I found you a deal.
$4,500 for that
found
one.
you a
That's
deal.
by far the highest price.
3 pinball machines: Guns N' Roses, Indy 500, and the Pinball Wizard, 6,400.
Wow.
Okay, well,
Guns N'
cool.
Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
Let's hear some more of them arcade. I said there's a scale.
Here's an antique coin operated Watling scale. It's a penny. It's
Oh,
also
you
the
stand on it, get your weight.
Yeah, but
It's
also
also-
remember they would tell you fortune.
it's your
Yeah,
fortune
tell your
also.
fortune. Yeah.
Man, like a
400
baby too.
$490.
Yeah.
Now here's a 1933 exhibit card penny arcade machine with 39 baseball cards in it.
You know, you put you penny in there or whatever. I
Yeah.
think it was a penny,
Yeah.
and you could get the card.
Yeah.
On one side, it's got the promo picture to show you what you're going to get. So on the left side, you would get, boy, it looks like Babe Ruth. And on the right side,
looks
possibly
Gene Autry, it looks
Gene Autry, yeah. 22 bids on that went for $407, which could have had something to do with the 39 baseball cards even, you
Heck
know.
yeah.
Here's a coin game. It's a U.S. Marshal target shooter 5-cent machine. And that's one of those where you pull back the coin and you shoot the coin.
Oh yeah, you shoot the coin in, and you could get a prize wherever it landed or something, wasn't it?
$375. Oh, wow, I've played this next one here. 1930s coin operated kicker catcher 1-cent penny football arcade machine.
Oh yeah.
And it's where you shoot the penny up in it, and it goes through the keno things, the pins. And if you catch it with the football player, you win. I don't know if you got your penny back or what, but
Well, didn't you say you played it?
no, it was a couple of years ago.
You must not have won nothing.
Yeah.
They wanted $675, and they got somewhere between $375 and $300. There's another one, another shooting gallery, antique penny arcade shooting gallery machine, $300. Vintage 3 Wheels of Love marquee from penny arcade coin operated
That's
machine.
just a header on it.
Get a checkup on your love life
Oh.
with 3 wheels of love, 1 penny, and that's the I guess it was the thing where you squeeze the handle and it tells you whether you're
Yeah,
a hot something
there
or
was-
whatever.
there was
God,
ones like that.
I vaguely remember that.
Well, was you hot?
Oh, always. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burnt the machine up.
There you go. Yeah, here's another one. Here's the Love Tester 1-cent marquee cast iron sign. They wanted $350 and
That's just a sign.
got $200. Yeah, it's
just
just the
a
cast
sign.
iron sign to
Sign.
go on the top of it.
Nice.
Here is a penny arcade shooting gallery pistol. Just the pistol and the coin mechanism.
The door, actually,
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
$200.
No.
Well, if you got a machine and you need a pistol
Yeah. And the coin.
and a coin up,
Yeah.
coin mate.
Well, I think that's another one where you're probably
What are you
shooting the
looking at
coin.
now?
Here's the 25
man.
cents love analyzer. This is the electronic version.
Gloves went up, Howard.
Yeah. Well.
Love analyzer. Deposit coin when light is fast flashing. Position fingers as shown. Do not press down hard or move hand until test is completed. And so it rates you from 1, a cold fish, to 5 is peak performance, 6 is wild, 7 always ready, 8 sex maniac, 9 take a cold shower, and 10 is forget it.
I wonder which one Howard is. Which one are you, Howard?
Probably the cold fish.
Not the maniac.
Okay, this one
I don't know.
needs a lock on the back door. Plastic casing is darkening from age. sold for $195.
How about that?
That's what I definitely remember seeing those in little stores. I think that was about the point I was realizing that 25 cents for something like that was
Well, it went
not.
from a penny to 25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that inflation, Howard?
I would say so. Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Here's the grip test.
Yeah, you used to see how strong you were.
Yeah.
You used to see those a lot.
So let me pull up the listing to see what our range goes on that one. Okay. So it's a metal case with a plastic screen. Says test grip, tester strength,
Yeah.
25 cents. Can we? I don't think I can't zoom in enough to see what the ratings are. Oh well. But it goes from a mouse at the bottom to a Charles Atlas at the top.
Which one would you been,
One
Howard?
of those.
I'd definitely be Charles Atlas.
Absolutely.
Remember him?
Yeah.
You don't see that much
Yeah.
anymore. You used to
Which one?
advertise in the comic books all the
Yeah.
time.
Hey, he sold a lot of those programs.
Boy, he sure did.
Which one would you be?
Oh, I'll go with Charles Atlas. Yeah.
Big strong
Ronnie,
guy.
Why would,
you
I,
would?
why would I say anything else?
Yeah.
Hey, what I was looking at that, that right there. What
Oh,
is that?
the Whirl-a-Ball?
Yeah, what
I
is that?
remember that one. It's a it's a stand-up,
17 inches tall.
17 inches tall, cast iron. You pull it down, the plunger down, and shoot the ball, and it spins around in a circle.
And you got to hit the.
And yeah, so it goes up from the outside ring is 10, and each ring you go in to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then I think the inside ring probably goes back down to 10, so that way, you're not pulling all the way back and just
That's
shooting all
one
the
penny
way.
too, Howard.
Looks like
Yeah.
you hit a bullseye,
That's
you
a
already
whole
get
piece
more.
then.
5 balls for a penny.
And there's your point
5 balls
rating,
for a penny.
5 balls for a penny. And it says 50 points is fair, 100 points is average, 200 is good, and 250 is an expert. So that's because 50 is the highest point. So
Which one would you be?
I would have been an expert, absolutely.
We're getting down to just a minute or two left,
All right, give
fellas.
us
You
one
want to
good
kind of
one.
wrap it
What's
up?
that one?
Yeah.
Here's a 1940s penny arcade coin-op machine, basketball player metal figure.
Just a figure.
Just the figure from it. 14 bids, $67. And
There's a boxer.
There's a boxer. No, that's actually says basketball player.
Oh, he looks like he got his hands up like a
He
boxer.
does. Well, maybe they've lost the ball.
Yeah, I think they have.
10 bids, $36. Coin pusher mini penny pusher coin arcade game. This is the one where it just goes down
Got
through
the
the
little thing
pins to
that-
get to the points.
Yeah.
$44.79.
The rest of it's just
The rest of them are parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, with that, let's get out of here. You know?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're about done for today. I guess we'll be back next week, huh?
Howard, what do you got next week for us?
Well, let me think.
All right. How long will that take?
Well, I'm a slow thinker. I guess we'll be back next week unless we get canceled by somebody.
Can we say the Lord willing?
Lord willing.
And the creek don't rise.
There you go.
You know that creek?
That's a possibility, though, for it.
You know that refers to the Indians, not an actual stream.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
that meant
So
back
uprising from the Creek Indian?
Creek Indians up right.
That could change your plans.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
told me that. That's today's trivia.
Well, Howard,
I'll
if
take
you
that.
say it, I
That's
believe
me.
it.
It must be true. We'll be back next week with more Let's Talk Antiques. We'll see you next week. Stay warm and stay dry.